Today on The Joy of Editing, I'll be working with TK9 version 3 just released. Today I'll show you how to make some Photoshop actions using TK9 button clicks. This is one of my favorite new features. Stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome to The Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. It is TK Friday, my favorite day of the week, and I hope it is yours too. Are you excited about this latest update for TK9? TK9 version 3 with so many great new features. And right now, for a limited time, there's a special launch sale going on. You're going to save 25% off anything you purchase over at the TK web store. Now, I'd like to ask you a big favor, and that is, when you purchase anything at Tony Kuiper's web store, please use my special launch sale promo code, which is DK25. That'll get you the 25% off. And when you use that code, I make a small commission, which helps me to keep these tutorials coming your way. So please use my code, and I want to thank you in advance for doing that. Now, I do have links in the description below that'll take you right over to the Tony Kuiper web store, where you can pick up the latest update for TK9 version 3. Also, there's a TK9 button by button guide. It's a video series. It's only $33. It covers TK9, the older version of TK9, plus 5 new chapters covering TK9 version 3. There's also a free course called Getting Started with TK9. These are courses by Sean Bagshaw. And also, you're going to want to check out Sean Bagshaw's 2 new luminosity masking courses. One is for basic luminosity masking and the other for advanced. And these courses incorporate the latest version of TK9, TK9 version 3. So remember, 25% off everything at Tony Kuiper's web store. Use my promo code DK25, and I thank you for it. Before I jump into the tutorial, I just want to clear up some issues some folks have been having when they download TK9 version 3. When you download it, you're going to get this folder right here. Now, when you open this folder up, you're going to find all of your TK9 version 3 plugins here, or read this first PDF and an installation PDF. And then you're going to find this documents and resources folder. So open that folder up. And inside here, you're going to get some good information like what are the key new updates in TK9 version 3 in this particular PDF. So you want to check that out. You want to check out the TK9 instructions manual. You get that, as well as the TK9 button modifiers. This was compiled by David Tillett and Keith Simpson. Really great. You're going to want to have that. Probably want to print that out. And then how to set up your color workspace, the end user license. But then this folder right here, a lot of people have been asking, where are my TK actions that I'm supposed to be getting? Well, they're right here inside of this folder, TK9 example actions. So open that up, and here's what you definitely want to install: TK9 blend if actions and the TK9 actions. And also you have this TK9 example actions document. You're going to want to read through this. This is from Dave Tillett, so check that out too. But that's where you find all this stuff. So hopefully this will clear up some confusion. So again, just look for the original folder you downloaded when you purchased TK9 version 3. And I hope this clears up some confusion. Sorry for the long intro, but I felt I needed to do it. Let's get started. One thing I need to say about whenever you record a Photoshop action from TK9 button clicks, they have to be run from Photoshop actions. You can't run them from your My Actions panels. At least not now. That should change in the future. But this is a Adobe Photoshop thing, not a TK9 thing. I just wanted to point that out. The first thing we need to do is open up our Photoshop actions to record a Photoshop action. So look for the little play button, give that a click, and that opens up your Photoshop actions. I'll be making 3 Photoshop actions from button clicks, but first, let me demonstrate the actions that we're going to make. And if you're used to working with the TK9 My Actions panel, I mean, this panel does not look that great, does it? But let me show you how to make it look a little more like a TK9 My Action panel. Come up to this, I like to call this a hamburger menu or flyout menu. Click this right here and click on button mode. And when you do, your actions look a lot more similar to the TK9 My Actions panel. The actions I'll be making today will be a paint through selection action, an add color linear light action, and a foliage enhance action, taking advantage of new features here inside of TK9. Let me say this about button mode. It looks really good, but you cannot record an action while in button mode. You got to come back to the flyout menu and shut off button mode by clicking. And now you can go ahead and record actions. So button mode is great for playback of actions, but not recording. You can't do it. Before I show you the 3 actions we'll make today, let me talk about David Tillett's actions. Now, I have David Tillett's actions right here, and I have them color-coded in gray. Now, they originally don't come in gray, but you can change the colors of these, okay? And then I have his blend if actions in this color right here, a darker gray, which is really not a color code on it. Now, let me say this for David Tillett's actions. This is important, and follow me closely here because I know this is going to come up, and it has come up. Let me click the flyout menu again and get out of button mode, and David Tillett's actions, like right here, TK9 blend if actions, and also his TK9 actions. Number 1, the action set TK9 actions. Do not change this name or your actions will not work. And the other thing is, see this close panels action in the TK9 action set. Do not delete this action or your actions won't work properly. That's very important. Also, do not change the name of the TK9 blend if action set or you'll have issues running these actions. And now, let me show you the 3 actions we're going to make. So let's go back to button mode. I'm going to click the flyout again and click button mode, and let me scroll down. The first thing I want to show you is foliage enhance, which takes advantage of a new feature inside of color masks. And so I'm going to click the foliage enhance button and check the image out. See how everything just got more vibrant green? And you'll notice we have a hue saturation adjustment layer that you could come here and go ahead and readjust this, work with the lighting, the lightness if you need to. And basically what we're doing is using a color mask that is only targeting the foliage of the image, which is pretty darn cool. And we can do it all with one click. We don't have to come up into the multi-mask panel and click on the color mask button and create a color mask. We do it all with one click. So we're going to make that action. Let me go ahead and just delete this layer by clicking on the trash can. The next action I want to show you is my add color linear light action. For now, I'm going to take this action folder and just drag it out here because I want you to see my TK actions right here. This action, add color. I really enjoy this action. It'll give you a solid color adjustment layer in a soft light blend mode. But a lot of times I like to have that solid color adjustment layer in a linear light blend mode. It gives me a stronger effect, and it's a really good action for altering the color and the contrast of a certain part of the image. Now, to run that, all we need to do is click on Add Color Linear Light. A color picker comes up, and I'm going to alter this color right here. So I want to color close to this. I'm going to click right here, and maybe I want it a little bit more saturated and maybe a little lighter. So I'll click right here and click OK. We can always come and change this later. I'll move this action panel out of the way. And now what we can do is come up to the multi-mask panel, click on the color mask, and a color picker comes up, and we could click right here and sample this color of this flower and click OK. And we're targeting that color, and we can maybe lighten that up a little bit with the brightness slider. Then click this button to output it to a black mask painting with a white brush through a selection. And now you can see I have a selection, and then I can just come and take my brush at various opacities. Right now I'm at 30%. Let me take it up to about 50% and watch. I can start painting that color. The mask is targeting it to only these flowers. And at 50%, I can lift my brush and paint again. It'll add more color. And then I could just paint away and really just locally make adjustments on these flowers, just like so. Maybe over in here just a little bit, and here I'll leave that one off. Now let me shut this off. Here is before and here is after. And now if we want to look at the layer mask, we could click this button and see the layer mask. But here's the cool thing about linear light. It has fill. So what we can do is if we want a stronger effect, we could click right here and this slider comes up. And if I drag this to the right, see how I can increase the strength of that effect? Really, really nice. So I like that. It's more aggressive than, say, soft light. You don't have the fill at soft light. It's already you do have fill, but it's at 100%. But this is at 15%. And this is a special blend mode, linear light, that takes advantage of fill adjustments. But then you could double click on the solid color adjustment layer and come and just drag this around to any color that you want here. Change it, how light it is, how dark it is, if it's less saturated, more saturated, and then just click OK. And now I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after, but that's my add color linear light. And check this out real quick. Let's click on foliage enhance. And now I'll shut this layer off. Here's before, check the leaves out, and now here is after. Two very useful actions. And now the last action I want to show you that we'll make is paint through selection. But first I'll click add color linear light and sample this color on the barn. And let's say we want to give it a little bit more saturation, lighten it up a little bit. I'll click OK. We got the black mask hiding everything. Then we'll click on paint through selection and we get this message. Make a selection using any available selection options. Click stop and I'll just grab an object selection tool and let's just select this barn right here. Now you notice paint through selection is red. Click that. And now right now my brush is at 50% opacity. I'm going to take it down to 30. I'll type my 3 key. Now watch what I can do. I'm targeting the barn only. I can come here and paint a little bit here. Maybe give this a little bit of paint here, maybe a little over here, down in here, here. Maybe I'll paint this a couple times over here. So I can locally paint this on really nice. I'll shut this off. Here's before and here's after, but that is paint through selection. It's great whenever you have an adjustment layer that you just want to paint on the effect locally. And now let me show you how to make these actions. To make a Photoshop action, make sure you have your actions panel open. You can't be in button mode, so come to the flyout menu, click it, and uncheck button mode. And now you're back to just the actions. And then you'll note you have these various buttons down here for making your actions. The first action we'll make is the enhance foliage action. So let's start out. Let's give ourselves a new action set. So I'll click this button right here and let's give this set a name. I'll just call this TK Friday and we'll click OK. And now we have this action set where we can place the 3 actions we're going to make. To create your action, click this plus. A new action comes up and we're going to call this enhance foliage. And it's going inside this set TK Friday. This is a drop down and you could put it inside of any folder you want. And let's give it a color code. It's important to color code so you could group your actions by color codes. And let's just give this like a red color code and we'll click record. And I'll click stop. And there's a special reason for that, which I'll get to in a minute. If you create an action using the TK9 multi-mask panel, if that panel wasn't closed during your workflow, you could have issues when you run that action. So the first 2 steps of our action will make sure that doesn't happen, that multi-mask panel is closed first. To speed up this process, you see David Tillett's close panels action here. If yours isn't open, see this right here, click and then click this to open it up. And you'll find 2 steps in here, this step and this step. We're just going to copy these steps and drag them down into our action. And to do that, hold your Command or Control key down and click on this step. Hold your Command or Control key down and click on this step. And then come up here to the flyout and click duplicate. You'll duplicate those 2. And then all we need to do is drag them the whole way down and put them right under enhance foliage right there. You see that? Click this down arrow to collapse this step and click this one to collapse this step. Now let me show you what this does. Let me go ahead and open up the My Channels panel and I'll click on Enhance Foliage and click play and watch that panel get shut. Or if I had the luminosity mask opened and I click play for this action, it'll close it. That just reassures you won't have any issues while running this action. Now come down to the bottom step and click on it and click your record button and now we can record the action. I need to create a color mask. Go up to the multi-mask panel, click the color mask button, a color picker comes up. Right now we're on white. Can you see right there? We need a color. It could be any color. We can just click right here in this red and click OK, because here's what we're going to do. We don't see anything. It's a black mask, but what we're going to do, this is new on the TK9 version 3. This button right here, I'm going to click it and it's looking for green and yellow tones in the foliage range. And you can see right here, this light gray. Now you cannot record any slider adjustments into your actions from TK9 panels. But notice, you see the auto levels adjustment. If you double click this, you'll get a full tonal range from white to black. And now I'll output this to a hue saturation adjustment layer. But this is important if we want to make sure it always goes to the top of the layer stack. Hold down your Command or Control key, click on the hue saturation adjustment layer, And now adjust your saturation. So we'll drag this to the right, and I'll take it over to, I set mine up to like 50. After you run the action, you can always change this. Photoshop actions do record adjustment layer slider changes. I'll double click the name and we'll rename this layer to foliage enhance. I'll type my return key, and now we can click stop. And now I'll shut this layer off. Here's before and here's after. Now let me go ahead and delete this layer by clicking the trash can, and let's run this action. So let's come here and click on Enhance Foliage, and we'll go ahead and click play. And just like that, we're done. Before and after. And again, you could come up here and readjust if you need to, adjust your lightness, whatever you need, and that's that. So that's one action. Now let's make the add color linear light action. So let's click the plus on the actions panel, and we'll call this add color linear light. And we'll come to color, the drop down, and we'll click red and click record. I'll use the multi-mask panel again, so I'm going to click stop, and we need to put the two closed panel steps in. I'll copy those from the enhance foliage action. I'll click this step to make it active, and then I'll hold the command or control key down and click this step to make it active. We'll come up to the flyout and click on duplicate. They're duplicated, and now we can just click on these two and drag them down, and we'll put them right here in the add color linear light. These are our first two steps. Again, these assure that the multi-mask panel will be closed before the action runs. Now I want you to notice my record button is grayed out. I can't use it. These two steps are highlighted, so just click on linear light and then click on plug-in action command, close my channels. That is the second step. And now we can hit record. Come up to the multi-mask panel and command or control click on the solid color adjustment button. A color picker comes up, and just click OK. The image will look a little strange, but don't worry about it. And now let's rename this layer to add color linear light and type your return key. And now we need to put a hide all mask on here. So click this button on the combo or CX panel that puts a hide all mask. And now we need to change the blend mode to linear light. So we'll click this button on the combo or CX panel. And now the blend mode is changed. And now we can click stop. Now we are not done, because I'm going to show you a problem that's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and delete this add color layer. I'll just click on the trash can, and now let's play this action. I'll click on add color linear light, and we'll click play. And we're going to get this white solid color adjustment layer with a black mask. That is not what we want. I'm going to go ahead and delete this layer by clicking the trash can. What we need to do is come over to this action, and you see this step right here, plug in action command, new color fill layer. See this box right here? We're going to click right here. And when we do, we're going to add an interactive flag. And now watch what happens when I play this action. A color picker comes up. That's what that does. And now we could pick a color off the image if we want to, or pick any color we want off the color picker. So let's just click like right here. And let's say we want to make it a little lighter, a little more saturated. We'll click OK. But we don't see a change because we have a black mask. Now we could get a white brush and we could paint on here. We could get a selection, paint through a selection. Or I could come up again and click on the color mask button, and let's click some of these red tones in here and click OK. Lighten it up with this brightness adjustment, and then I could either output it to a black mask painting through a selection with a white brush, or I could click this button and just output it right to the layer, and now every one of those reddish tones are targeted. So let me shut this off. Here's before and here's after. And remember, you can double click on the solid color adjustment icon and come and change this to whatever you want, make it a little more on the warmer side. It's totally up to you, and then just click OK. We'll create one more action, and that will be the paint through selection action. Let's make that action, and notice I have the add color linear light adjustment layer on here with the black mask. After we make the paint through selection action, we'll use it on the black mask. Let's make a new action. I'll click on the plus to create a new action, and we'll name this paint through selection, and let's color code it. I'll click the drop down. We could use any color here. Let's just click on red. This will be the button color, and then we'll come up and click record. For this action, I'll need the multi-mask panel because I'll be using my channels, so I need to go ahead and stop the action by clicking the stop button, because I'll need that opening two steps of cancel mask and close my channels. And right now I do have a selection here, so I'm just going to click this button and deselect that selection. I'm not recording right now. And we could go ahead and duplicate these first two steps from the Add Color Linear Light. So Command or Control click on the first one, Command or Control click on the second one, come up to the flyout menu, click Duplicate, and then we'll just drag these down right here, which will put them inside. Whoops, I made a mistake. I'll click on Cancel Mask and drag them both down inside of Paint Through Selection. Now that's more like it. Now, this Paint Through Selection action requires a selection before the action starts to run. Here's what we need to do. Now, right now I have both of these steps highlighted. So click on the bottom step, close my channels, and come up to the flyout menu, click it, and come to Insert Stop and click that. And now we can type in a message telling whoever is using this action what to do first. I'll type in Make a Selection using any available selection options, and then click OK. And now make any old selection. I'm using my lasso tool, and I'll just make a little selection here. And now what you want to do is click on the record, click on My Channels, click Active Selection, and then you want to output this to a black mask, painting with a white brush through a selection. So click this button, and now we can click Stop. And now you'll note I have a selection here, which I don't want this selection, so I'm just going to click this button to deselect it. And now let's run the action and check it out. To run this action, I have to click on Paint Through Selection and then click the play button. Now I'll get a message telling me make a selection using any available selection options. Click Stop. And now what I'll do is grab my Object Selection tool, this tool right here, and I will make a selection around this barn. And I'll click play to continue the action. Now you'll note that we do have a selection by the selection indicator here. And remember, this is a paint through selection action, so I have to paint through a mask here. Now, if I disable this mask by clicking this X on the combo panel, you can see the effect the solid color adjustment layer is adding to the image here. I'll go ahead and click X to enable the black hide all mask again. And now I can go ahead. And right now I have 30% opacity, so I can locally paint on this adjustment. And it's only going to go onto the barn. So I'll paint here once, twice, maybe come across here, paint one time, come down in this area, paint once, twice, maybe 3 times, paint over here 1, 2, 3 times. And now I can shut this layer off. Here's before and here's after. And if we want to look at the mask, if I click the double arrow button, you can see that mask is only targeting that barn. And now I'll click the double arrow again and we're back to the image. But that is the paint through selection action. Now these 3 actions that I made today, I'm going to give these to you for free. I'll have a link for them in the description below this video. Click on more, scroll down through, and you'll find a link to download these actions, just in case you don't want to make them for yourself. If you download the actions, here's how you install them. Open up your actions folder and click the flyout menu, and then come to Load Actions, click on Load Actions, point your file browser to the actions, click on the action and click Open, and that will install them into your Photoshop actions. And then you'll find them at the bottom of the list of the actions. If you want to color code them differently, just double click not on the name of the action, but off to the side, double click, action options opens up, and then you could click right here and give them a different color and then click OK. I'm just going to click cancel so you could recolor them, which is really great when you're in button mode. So to get into button mode, just come up to the flyout menu of your Photoshop actions and click on button mode. And then I like to drag this in just to see a single list of the actions. And then if you want to get real fancy, you can click and drag this. And let's say I want to put these right under my combo panel. And now they kind of look like my action panel, right? So they're really easy to access. But isn't it great that we can now record button clicks from TK9 and make Photoshop actions out of them? I'm so excited about it. Well, there it is, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. Click that bell notification icon. Click all so that you'll receive all notifications. And then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll get notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today in the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. I'll see you all right here next time. But until then, happy editing.